This episode of Beyond the Closing is brought to you by First United Land Transfer.
Hey everybody, this is Lizzie with First United, bringing you another episode of Beyond the Closing. I have with me today Tara Roy with Tara Roy Loves Real Estate at eXp Realty. So we are just gonna kind of hang out today and have some girl talk. I think that's what I literally said. We're just gonna have girl talk today.
We're gonna have girl talk, and I'm all about it.
That's good, perfect. So I feel like, honestly, you and I just became like best friends in like the 5 minutes that we've been talking prior. So that's awesome. But you are so all over just the internet in general. Like, not even just the internet though, on the radio. I remember I texted you?
That's right.
I was like, I
me.
just heard you on the radio.
Yes.
And who listens to the actual radio? I did, 100%. And I was like, we're driving.
Which was so awesome because I was like, who's going to hear this? And
no, it does,
heard it.
Yes. I was sitting there, my fiance and I were in the car, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I turned on the volume. I was like, I know her.
You're like,
I was like, I literally was just talking to her the other day.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay. He was like, wow, that's like, okay. Like, he didn't know how to react. He wanted to exactly. He wanted to like not like shut me down because he saw how like excited I was. Right. But he was like I was having a moment. but no.
Well, thank you for doing that on my behalf.
Absolutely. Definitely was fangirling.
But I
think that's the best way.
I get it. Like you hear someone you know and you're like, oh, you get so excited. And
that's it.
It's like, I know that person and I want to tell everyone that's around me that, listen, I know that person.
It was just very random, and it was so good. So you're out there.
I'm out there.
People hear your name. People know who you are. You have your own YouTube channel.
I do.
And your own cooking show.
That is right. I have my own cooking show.
Which is amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's definitely labor of love. It takes me a few hours every week to kind of get it together, get the lighting, get the camera, get the, by the time I figure out what I'm going to make.
I was going to say, how do you come up with even what you're going to make? That I don't even know what I'm making for dinner.
So, it's funny because I started it last January, the first week in January. It's called Tasty Tuesdays with Tara. I really, really like alliteration. Anything I do that's like going to be marketable, I'm like, I want people to remember it, right? So it's always going to have some sort of alliteration. So Tasty Tuesdays with Tara, where your host is a realtor by day and at night a gourmet, is my tagline because I want people to know that I'm a real estate agent. And that's like, because I just want to remind people because, on Facebook, it's busy and, You
don't want to just like follow through the feed.
I don't want to be the real estate agent that's just always being like, just sold, just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold, I'm working. Like, I feel like that is like an indication of like, hey, look at me, I just sold a house. It's like, well, good, you did your job. Sure. Like, that's what your job is. So I'm just trying to do something different to remind people that I'm a realtor.
Yeah.
And I also have to cook, so like let's make dinner together kind of a thing.
But it makes you so like so much of like a person, like a normal person too.
Yeah, like I'm in my little humble kitchen. Like I don't have a giant gourmet kitchen or anything. In fact, I can't even cook at my stove because my stove is against a wall, right? So I have to set up this little table
with your hot plate and everything.
Like my little like special dish, or pan that I have for it because I always forget the name. It's the one that it has to be magnetic in order. Whatever the
I know what you're talking about. I don't know either.
I always forget the name.
My parents had to buy a whole thing.
I don't know.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I always forget the name. So you do too. So good. It's not just me.
No, it's
not just me.
How many times do you say it?
Yeah. Never. Right? Only on Tuesdays when I try and remember what it is.
Sure.
When I talk to people on Tasty Tuesdays is when I don't remember what it is. Or now.
Well, that's okay. It's fine. It's a special pan.
So it's fun. It takes some time to put things together. But it's a good time. And I get really good feedback and you never know who's watching, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't actually record one this week because I had something to do, and usually if I don't record one, I'll come on and do something else so I'm there. But I was talking to my mom actually on the way here, and she's like, my friend reached out to me, and she's like, I tried to find Tasty Tuesdays with Tara this week. Where was it? And I was like, she watches? Like, you never know who's watching. So in real estate, I think it's really important to be a marketer and to be kind of omnipresent where you can and be on different mediums. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the places, right?
Out there, like wherever you can.
Wherever you can, because you never know who's watching and you never know who's going to connect with you.
I was just going to say, make those connections without even realizing you're making those connections.
Exactly.
I mean, I do have to say, I've watched your videos and I am there, and Okay, first and foremost, can we please talk about your salt and pepper box? I didn't even know that was a thing. Like,
right?
Honestly, it is on my goal to like have one.
Have one someday?
Yes, and it is the like cutest thing. I was watching the video and my face was like, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, that is so.
It was like a clamshell, like
yes.
salt and pepper box.
Yes, like a little battered. It's blue and like battered, right?
Yep.
Like,
it's like
but it's
farmhouse looking,
Yeah, and it works, and it is like phenomenal.
It's just a little wooden box with a chain that holds, that holds the top open. It's I love it. It's like one of my favorite things in my kitchen.
And that's what you use every single time then.
Every single time.
So even when you're not filming, that's like your daily.
Oh, that is my daily salt and pepper box. Like that is where the salt and pepper is.
See, I'm all about that crank. Like I have one of those, and I'm like, I always feel like I put too much in, or my hand gets tired.
I feel like it's not. You can't control it with the crank. You just gotta pinch and put.
I'm gonna have to get one. Like next Amazon purchase.
I think so.
It's needed
it's a good
for sure.
idea.
I also have to say, I did think about you in my house while I was cooking.
Okay.
I did not know. The first video I watched, you were making like wet eggs. And it was like wet eggs with tomatoes, I think, or something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Okay, it was the first video. I didn't even know wet eggs were a thing. I have always just made my eggs and just, I don't know how I, and they're always like done.
They're like eggs.
Yes.
And they're just normal tasting.
I watched your video. I made them like you did. And not even, I am fangirling right now. I 100% am fangirling because it made all the difference.
Such a difference.
Yes, I had no idea.
It's like custardy and eggy, and it's not like dried fluff.
I had no.
Well,
but
good. I'm so
I will
glad
say,
that I can help you.
I'm like covering my face because like not to fangirl again. Speaking of the fluff, I have to bring up the eggs again.
Oh, the egg clouds.
Yes, I had again no idea they even existed.
The egg clouds, right?
I'm gonna make those.
And that's literally why I'm doing this, so that people can be like, "Wow, that's interesting. That's cool. That's like I want to show people. I love to cook.
Yeah.
So I when I find cool things on the internet or like TikTok tricks or something like that, like I'm just gonna bring them to the community. Like,
it is so.
Most of the people I'm connected with are in the Lehigh Valley.
Okay.
I have a lot of other like Realtor friends across the country from different coaching things I've been in, but my whole point of building a new Facebook page when I became a Realtor, which is almost 7 years ago, was to connect with the community. So I do it just for people here, and I hope they watch, and if they do, great, but you never know who's watching.
That's it.
You just never know. I mean, the other day I was in the grocery store, and a girl came up to me and said, "Hello, Miss Tasty Tuesdays with Tara." And I was like, "Well, hello." I had no idea.
You didn't know who this was?
I didn't know who it was. I didn't know she watched, I didn't,
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a way for me to connect. And I just want people to know that, like, I'm open to help you. I want to, I'm going to help you cook, but I'm also going to help you buy a house. I'm going to help you sell a house. I'm going to help you, find the best groomer for your dog. So I'm just like a community person, and that's what the cooking show is all about.
Now, did you grow up here in the Lehigh Valley?
I did grow up here. I grew up
so you really have that community base, which is amazing.
I did. I grew up in Fountain Hill, but I did leave. I left for 18 years.
Okay.
So I went to college in California.
Okay.
And I was in Malibu. I went to Pepperdine. So I was in Malibu for 3 years, spent one of my years in London, but then I went back to LA, and I graduated, and my parents were like, "Well, when are you coming back to Lehigh Valley?" And I was like, "Well, all my friends are going to live in LA. Like, what am I going to do in Lehigh Valley? I don't know anybody anymore."
Right.
So I started my career, which was in advertising and technology, in Los Angeles. So worked there for 4 years after graduating.
Okay.
And then it was time to come back east. My family was
you felt that calling.
I did. My dad and my mom both had separate health issues. They're both still kicking many years later. They're totally fine. But I was like, what if there's an emergency?
Yeah.
I'm all the way across the country, and like I'm very, very family oriented. Like I'm very close with my parents, and I was like, I don't want to be stuck. Like by the time you get to the airport, by the time you get across the country, it's 10 hours later. That could be the matter of,
That's
that
scary.
could be, it was scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was like, I want to be closer. And so I moved to New York City. And I spent almost a decade in New York City.
Okay.
And
so you moved back, but not quite home just yet. But New York itself is like, I'm sure, a whole nother world.
Oh, a whole nother world.
Right?
Yes, a whole nother world. It's amazing. It's great.
Yeah.
But it came a point where I was like, for the first 7 years I lived there, it was no matter where I went in the world. If I went to Ireland, which is like one of the most beautiful countries ever, if I went to, somewhere tropical like in Mexico, whatever, it was all beautiful, but I would always be like, I'm back in New York, the best place on earth. After 7 years, though, I would start coming back from these little trips. And I used to travel a lot for advertising. I was in managing clients all over the country. And I would come back and I'd be like, why is it so smelly here? Why is it there's so much garbage on the street? Like I was starting to lose a little bit of its luster for me.
Yeah.
And I wanted more space, and I've always loved houses. So I was like, let's just go house hunting. And naturally, it was when we were going to try and start a family. And so I was like, let's be close to my parents, because then they can take care of the children.
Yeah.
If we want to go away for a weekend. Because we were always about like still having our unit, my husband and I.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we started looking within 25 miles of where I grew up in Fountain Hill, because my parents are still in the same house.
That's awesome.
They still live, and they've been there 55 years. So it is truly still home.
So I grew up in Salisbury. We were the last house right before Fountain Hill.
Oh. So we were practically neighbors.
My parents still live in there. Like, I grew up there, still live there.
Oh
like, I know, small world, right?
Yes. I mean, that's literally a stone's throw away from my parents. Like, they're right below, they're on Delaware, like right below Broadway.
I grew up on Jeter.
Oh my gosh.
Right, literally a stone's throw. Like, if anybody who knows Fountain Hill and like Salisbury, that is crazy.
Did you grow up going to the Fountain Hill Park?
That's literally, it's the one right by Wawa there. Yeah, right behind in the pool and everything. Yeah, so we definitely had some memories right there. Yeah, we're right at the top on the left. The park with like the yellow slide. Well, there's no longer there. The park with the yellow slides is, but right around there. Yeah,
right.
Small world, right?
Small world, totally.
But so not to cut you off, but when I bought my first house, I bought it on top of Graham. So I know exactly what you're talking about, though. By like in the area, I was literally a stone's throw away when I bought my first house from my mom and dad, because that was home.
Absolutely.
So like, I get it.
And we started looking, and I never really considered Easton, because when I was growing up, you didn't go to Easton. Like, it was like you weren't allowed to go to Easton. That's where the drugs were. That's where the bad kids were. Like, back in the 80s and the 90s, like, we weren't allowed to go to Easton. Like, I think it was a misperception, actually, by our parents. Like, I think it would have been fine if we went to Easton and, made friends with Easton people.
Yeah, and you wouldn't think anything of it.
We wouldn't think anything of it at all. Right. I think it was like a parental thing in Bethlehem. Like, stay away from Easton. Easton High is bad. But it's not. It's a great school. It's a great community.
Yeah.
And so we started to see these beautiful houses up in College Hill, and I was like, I never explored Easton. Yeah. But the reason I got excited about Easton was because when I was coming back from buses in New York City, the first stop is to go around the circle in Easton. Back in the day, a little different now, but the bus stop was like right there, and then it would go back around, and the architecture there is so glorious.
It's so pretty. I know exactly where you're talking about. I don't go to Easton often, but I know exactly where you're talking about.
The downtown area is phenomenal, and when I was on that bus, I was like, I could see myself living here someday. Like, it's just so beautiful.
Like, it had that appeal to you then, before you were even like looking.
Before I was even looking. And then I discovered the neighborhood of College Hill, which is right above Easton by like 2 miles. I mean, I live 2 miles from downtown.
Okay.
And I'm up far on the hill. And there's these beautiful old houses. I love old houses. I grew up in an old farmhouse. Our farmhouse is almost 200 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's in Fountain Hill, so it doesn't look like it's a farmhouse, but it used to be an orchard.
Yeah.
That was, there were no houses, there were no streets around it, and it was an old orchard. And it's the base of my parents' house is a farmhouse. And so I watched my dad growing up doing woodworking and carpentry. He's an attorney by day.
Okay.
But at night, like after dinner, he would get on his old like wife beater shirts and like, tank tops and his old dusty jeans, and he would do carpentry to kind of blow off steam. And he really refurbished the entire house. And it was my whole life. Like there was always a project going on, and there was always like something being scraped and re-stained, and wainscoting going up here and whatever, plaster going on here. And so I watched him my whole life doing this stuff, and I love old houses. I love to see them refurbished and to be made new again. And so it was great. It was part of the reason that I started to I love houses in general because of that, I think. So when I first moved here, I went on all the house tours and all the stuff, but there were these gorgeous houses in College Hill, and I was like, well, let's just go look at these. And so we did, and we weren't very serious buyers, and I feel terrible for my real estate agent because we looked at 27 houses.
Okay.
you know? And this is well before I was a real estate agent. So I was
you were just like, you needed to look.
I had no idea. I needed to see somebody. So now when I have buyers who are like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry you want to see so many houses, I'm like, girl, I get it. I did the same
thing. Been there, done that.
Been there, done that.
So I want to rewind just a quick second.
Yeah.
You said that your dad is like, he was an attorney by day.
Yes.
And carpenter, like, did everything. So a man of many hats.
Yes.
So is that where you get it from then? Because you certainly are a woman of many hats. Like,
probably, yes. I really like to... like just diversity in what I do, right? Like
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, I am a real estate agent, but in order to be a real estate agent, you have to be a good marketer, right?
Yep.
So that to me, because I come from a world of digital marketing from my past life of being in advertising, like I knew I had to learn how to be a marketer online,
which is so beneficial for you right now. Like,
which it really is, right?
That's perfect.
We were talking earlier about like there's this thing called a parasocial relationship, right?
Okay.
So you felt like you knew me before you even knew me.
Yeah.
Right? Because I get on camera and I'm myself. I'm authentic. I'm not trying to be like somebody different. I'm not trying to be like this prim and proper real estate agent. Like I'm a real person. So I'm myself. And so you saw me and you're like, oh my gosh, that girl Tara, right?
When I text you, it was so, I was not like, I don't like texting people I don't know. It's uncomfortable. Like, hey, I'm a stranger reaching out.
Right.
When I reached out to you though, it was so casual, so normal. I felt like I didn't have to put that like, that fake persona on. Do you know what I mean? Like it was me reaching you. Like I literally did. I felt like I could be myself when I reached out to you. You're 100% right. I never even realized that was
right. So that is the parasocial relationship. It's what you have with people on television. It's what you have with people in the movies, right? So you empathize with them, right? And you like if they break up with their boyfriend, you're like, oh my gosh, Emily broke up with her boyfriend, and you're feeling it. When you do video on social media, people start to know you. They start to like you. They start to trust you. And that is the parasocial relationship. So for when you texted me, you're like, I already know her.
That's exactly
It wasn't
how
like
I
reaching
felt.
out to a stranger.
Nope, I didn't feel awkward. And note to self for how I want to portray myself. So like when people want to like message me or something, I'm totally going to like remember this conversation because I didn't know that was a thing. Exactly. What did you say was it?
It's called a parasocial relationship.
Okay.
Yes.
Never heard of that before. Ever. Love everything about what you're saying because it's 100% worked.
And now it's going to be, now people are going to know you because you're doing this podcast, you're on camera, like all these cameras that we have here, and they're going to start noticing you as well.
Yeah, so we're hoping
they're going to have that feeling about you, just like you had that feeling about me.
I hope so because you're crushing it. So I'm not even kidding. Like goals right here. Definitely fangirling, 100%. Fangirling.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, Lizzie.
No, absolutely, for sure. So you said that you've been an agent, though, for 7 years. Okay, and we know what you did before that. So how have these past 7 years really just transformed you into who you are today? Like, was it scary transitioning into realtor?
Well, yes, because taking that leap from getting a paycheck on a monthly basis or bi-weekly basis is certainly different than like I'm now a business owner and I have to do everything myself, right? So we, as realtors, we're connected with a brokerage, but we don't work for that brokerage.
Okay.
They're not paying us money to work there. We're generating our own business. And if you work for a brokerage, like maybe your broker will send you some leads. Like a lot of them will promise big leads and maybe they don't give them. I don't know. But that's why I learned how to generate my own leads through doing social media. By doing the cooking show, I've closed houses with people who saw me on the cooking show. And my YouTube channel, I get calls every week from people who see me on YouTube and want to move to the Lehigh Valley. Yeah. So I've learned how to generate my own leads, but it took a while. Like the first couple of years I was a realtor, I just didn't know, what to do and how to find those leads. So it was like a lot of reaching out to people that I didn't really know that many people here because I'd moved from New York. And I grew up here, right? So I had a little bit of
But there was a time lapse, though. Like, before, like, from when you left to, like, come back. Like, that was, you said you were in New York for...
Well, I was gone from the area so I left at 18. Yeah. I was gone for 18 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's a long time, though. Like, a lot of things changed. People move and everything. That you had to, like, reestablish connections. I mean, of course, you still have, like, the people that you knew. But, no, you 100% had to reestablish that. So I can imagine how that would be intimidating. marketing.
Right.
For sure.
Which is why I put my maiden name, my family name back into my name when I first came back.
Oh, okay.
So on Facebook, I'm Tara Turzenroy.
Okay.
Because my dad's an attorney. And I was like, well, maybe there'll be some name recognition. Or maybe someone might remember me from high school as Tara Turzen. And I was like, okay, that I'm going to throw that back in there. But it didn't work. Like, it didn't really work. Because I'm more on the Easton Bethlehem side.
Yeah.
Like, my dad's all the way over in Allentown. And, like, I don't do as much. I mean, I'll do business anywhere in the Lehigh Valley, obviously. But, like, just naturally because of where, like, I market, I get more people interested in moving to Easton and the Bethlehem area.
Right.
So, but my name is still Tara Turzenroy on there. But I'm just, I just go by Tara Roy.
No, that's awesome. I did see that actually on there too, and I didn't think of. I mean, I don't even have my last name on Facebook, so like you see things that didn't even click, but that makes sense, and that's like back to the marketing. That's such a good marketing aspect. Like you're using like your name, a recognizable name, and who knows? Maybe some people would have recognized it for sure. So
maybe.
Absolutely.
I mean, I have had a few people over the years say, "Are you Turzen related to the?" I'm like, yes,
that's me,
because there's not a lot of Turzens. It's So
it's unique enough, right, that you'll stand out there.
Exactly.
So what are your goals moving forward? I feel like just from what we've talked about, you're obviously like very like goal oriented. Like, I mean, you've made so many like leaps, which is exciting. And like, where do you see yourself going? Like what, just expanding with being a realtor and moving from there, maybe getting a cooking show on TV?
Hey, listen, if HGTV called me and said, can you do a cooking show? I would not say no. But I don't think that's happening. I haven't gotten that call yet. So real estate.
I don't know.
Real estate it is.
Well, listen, I'm just going to say, I was going to ask you. Now, I heard you on the radio. You had somebody approach you in the grocery store.
Yes.
The second somebody asks you for your autograph, I need you to let me know. Text me, call me, because I think you're on your way there. I'm just saying.
I don't think so, Lizzie. I don't think so.
I will be that hope for you, and I will absolutely fangirl all day. So.
Thank you so much. But yeah, so I mean, obviously, just like growing and expanding. I'm a solo real estate agent. So the thing I love about like I work with EXP, so it's like I'm connected with a lot of people because of a coaching course that I took 3 years ago that I'm still in.
Sure.
And so I'm connected with a lot of agents across the country. So even though I'm a solo agent, I have like a great network to mastermind with and to bounce ideas off of. I have one local realtor who's in my EXP organization, but I have 20 others across the country that, are also another networking. So I have all these different pockets of realtors that I talk to and I communicate with, but I like being a solo agent. Like I don't have huge aspirations to have a huge team because when I left my corporate job, I was a senior director and I had teams of people and I really just like kind of doing my own thing and not having to be responsible for anybody else.
Yeah,
so,
I was just gonna say not to be responsible for others.
Right.
Not that that's a problem.
No,
obviously, I'm sure you would absolutely help anybody.
Well, that's why I love the structure of EXP and the way that it is because I mentor a lot of people.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not like their team leader.
You're like responsible.
I'm not responsible for their success, but I'm helping them get to where they want to be by being their mentor, if that makes sense.
That absolutely makes sense. And I can only imagine that you're an amazing mentor.
Thank you.
I absolutely feel like you probably are just like excelling.
Well, what I really love to do is help people find their brands.
Yeah.
And it all goes with my background of being in advertising and technology. I spend a lot of time in the creative department coming up with ad campaigns for my clients to run online and whatnot. So I love digital like marketing. I love to like Canva. Do you know Canva?
I love Canva. Yeah.
Canva is like thebomb.com. Like I'm on there all day long. And actually as like kind of I've morphed into this thing where I actually help realtors come up with their brands. Like they pay me for this because it's like they need a logo.
Yeah.
And I will sit down, I'll have like an hour-long consultation. We'll talk about like what colors they like and what colors represent and how to brand themselves and what their slogan's going to be. And then I design their logo for them.
Yeah.
So it's like my little side biz that I didn't even know that I was going to love, but I love it. And I help people all over the country do that. So it's like my little, it's all still real estate related.
Yeah.
Because it's industry people. And so I can see that expanding more as well. But that's like a nighttime weekend thing. Like I'm 100% full-time realtor. And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
When you're looking for a real estate agent to find somebody who it is their career, right? Because there's our industry is always constantly changing. There's moving pieces, moving parts. There's all this stuff going on right now that if you're just a part-time realtor who's not like in it all the time, it makes it a little bit more difficult to know what's going on.
Sure. But like you do have that time. Like you do dedicate that time.
Oh, yes.
That's definitely important, to know that you are there, although you do have these other things on the side.
Yeah, I just am a busy person. I just like to do a lot of different things. So
I can't imagine. You're telling me all this, and I'm literally over here, and I'm like, wow, like I'm in just like all like the fact that you like help people come up with like their brand and like design their logo. I feel like that's a business in itself. I feel like that could literally
it could, but I like real estate too much to give it up. So.
Sure, yeah, oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not,
It definitely could. I mean, I could probably start like a little agency for real estate agents that specializes in exactly what I do to help them, which is coming up with their entire brand, their color palettes, their everything.
I didn't even know that was a thing though. So I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
When I'm on this side of the chair, I have no idea what it takes to be an agent, and I would never ever begin to even try to act like I do. And like I didn't even know there was a thing like designing your brand, helping people do that. I had no idea. There's a lot that it takes to just be an agent, and
there is.
Good for you for helping those agents who need that help, because I'm mind blown. Like I just don't think about the different aspect of it. You know what I mean?
A lot of people will just be like, I'm Tara Roy, I work at EXP.
Yeah.
Right? But no, I'm Tara Roy. My brand is Tara Roy Lives Real Estate. I have a logo that says Tara Roy Lives Real Estate. There's a big sunburst in the middle because like that just represents a lot to me, the sun.
Sure.
And then there's like a little heart, so it's like loves, and it just looks like Tara Roy Real Estate.
And it's honestly, you. Like that's you.
Yes. But I couldn't just be Tara Roy Real Estate because Pennsylvania said, no, that sounds like a brokerage. You can't be Tara Roy Real Estate.
Okay.
I'm like, can I throw the word loves in there?
Yeah.
And they're like, sure. So I just put a little heart in there. So it still looks like Tara Roy Real Estate, but it's actually Tara Roy Loves Real Estate. The brand is, it's so me because I do love real estate, and it sounded a little funny at first, but now I'm just so used to saying it, Tara Roy Loves Real Estate, because I want people to know, like, my passion is to help you find a house or sell a house or move. My slogan is, my aim is to move you.
Okay.
And not just like physically move you, but like I want to emotionally move people. I want to intellectually move people. Like I want to touch people in a way that's going to be memorable for them. So
you want to have that connection and like connecting. Yes. Awesome. And you are doing such a phenomenal way of it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Definitely. Like you definitely are goals. Like I said, goals for sure, because you put yourself out there, and I admire it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That. So you say, what are my goals? I mean, every goal is to sell more houses the next year than the last year, right?
Sure.
So just growing, and one of my goals is I want to start a community. I want to be a community market leader where more people in the community know me. I feel like, I'm not as involved as I'd like to be. So
like within the community? Within
the community, right? Like to do community spotlights.
Okay.
And to go to different businesses. I mean, I've done a little bit of that, but like I want to do it more consistently and help my small business people in Easton especially, because that's where I live and play.
That's your heart, absolutely.
That's my heart. I mean, I love Bethlehem as well, but I'm just going to stay in my lane over there in Easton, because you know what? People come in, they see, and then they're like, well, let's explore other places. And so then we go to Nazareth, and we go to Fountain Hill, and we go to all these other places. So, but my niche, my target area is Easton, just because that's where I live and play. So I want to do more community videos. I did this series a couple of years ago called The 12 Days of Christmas.
Okay.
And it was on my YouTube channel, and I went into 12 different small businesses the 12 days before Christmas, and I would just display, like, kind of do a video of what was in the shop. If the shop owner was there and they wanted to talk to me, sometimes people get really shy on camera, and they're like, no, I don't want to do it. But then it's fine, I just did it. And then I edited it all together, and I would just stand in front of them like, hi, I'm in front of such and such a place, day 3 of the 12 days of Christmas. Come in and shop, for this kind of thing here. And it was just to highlight their businesses.
And you're not getting anything from this other than literally serving the community, just putting it out there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people were so appreciative of that.
Right. Oh, the shop owners were grateful. And I was happy to do it for them. And it helps me get to know people. So I love doing stuff like that. And I really want to do more consistency with that.
So it definitely sounds like we need to figure out how to get more hours in the day, though.
What I need is more sleep at night. I'm a very big night owl.
Okay.
So I will stay up until like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes.
Gosh, good for you.
And I know, it's ridiculous.
I can't even.
And, so I'm not one of those 5 o'clock in the morning risers, but I know when I do get up at 5 o'clock, I'm like so productive for those several hours in the morning before like life starts, as they say. But I can't get up at 5 o'clock if I'm going to bed at 1 or 2. So I'm trying right now to change my sleep habits so I can be a little bit more of an early bird because I feel like I'd have more hours in the day that way.
I hear you. I have a 1-year-old daughter.
Yes, who is so adorable, by the way.
Oh my goodness, thank you. She took her first steps the other day and walked to me six little steps to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, come on.
She's like a little princess. The way you dress her and stuff is so cute.
I know. Her hair is very thin, and I just realized on Sunday that I could put it up in a little ponytail with a little bow, so you guaranteed there have now been over 100 bows delivered to my house from since Sunday.
It's too easy from Amazon.
That's exactly what it was. Mm-hmm. And I have an 11-year-old son, and he said to me, he goes, are these more bows, Mom? Really, more bows? And I was like, you stop it. I was like, you have gotten everything you want. Every time you ask for those bucks for your games that you want, I give it to you. I was like, she needs the bows.
She needs the bows.
Exactly. But she just started sleeping through the night, though, like not too long ago. So when you say you go to bed at like 1 o'clock, Tara, I'm in bed at literally like 9 o'clock.
I get it.
And I am just like out. And
you should be, because sleep is really, really, really important.
It is.
When you get lack of sleep, it's hard on your body.
And I wish I could stay up a little longer, though. But I am that I'm that early bird riser, though. I am that, I lie. I am that early bird waker-upper. I do not rise. I lay in bed, and I will that's when I'll think for 2 hours, and I'll make my list of what I need.
Do you want to hear something so fun I've been telling everybody? And it's a perfect segue into this because of what you just said.
Okay.
So I saw it was a reel or a TikTok the other day, and there was this girl, and she was in a robe, and she was on this fluffy white bed, and she's like, I like to stay in bed for longer than is appropriate.
Okay.
On a Saturday morning, she's there reading magazines, she's there drinking her tea, whatever. There's a Scottish name for this practice. Staying in bed longer than is appropriate.
Okay.
But luxuriating in it, right?
Yes.
It's called a Hurkle-Durkle.
Stop it. So that's amazing.
Hurkle-Durkle.
That is, so, I am 100%.
So I'm a total,
right? Is that as I say?
I'm a Hurkle-Durkle. When I can, the only day I can possibly a Hurkle-Durkle is Saturday.
Yes.
And it depends on if I have people coming in wanting to see houses.
Sure.
But even if they do want to come in and see houses, I'm not showing you a house at 8 a.m. on a Saturday.
Okay. Yes.
I need a little bit of a Hurkle-Durkle.
Yes.
A little bit of a luxuriating in bed, because it's the only chance that you get to do that.
I am officially going to say that a Hurkle-Durkle.
A Hurkle-Durkle.
As many times as I can.
It's the best word.
And I'm going to try to get my son to say it. And he will make fun of me, but it needs to happen.
It needs to happen. It's a Hurkle-Durkle.
That is amazing. If there's anything I take from today,
it's a Hurkle-Durkle.
That's it. I'm so glad it was that, without a doubt. I have to look it up.
Do look it up. It's a real thing.
And it's a Scottish term?
It's a Scottish term, and it's 300 years old. It's not even a new term. It's an old term.
I'm so excited to learn this.
Just luxuriating in bed and just relaxing and enjoying long past the time that you should get up.
That's what I need in my life. That is literally my life, and that's.
I think everyone needs a good lie-in.
I'm
the British call it if you sleep in Great Britain, they call it a lie-in, but I think is a lie, not a lion.
Yeah.
But a lie-in.
Yeah.
And it might be a little bit of the same thing where you're but it's more you're sleeping in and getting up at 10 instead of 7 or something. That's more of a lion. I had a lion, but Hurkle-Durkle is when you just kind of luxuriate in your in your bed chambers.
That's me. I don't get up. I just lay there, and that's.
And you keep saying to yourself, I should get up.
There are so many times I'm literally wow, I should go to the gym. This would be a really good time to go to the gym.
But you're too busy Hurkle-Durkling.
That's it. And then I'll watch the clock, and I'll literally watch it oh, you know what? Not enough time now.
Right.
And I better get up and get ready. So that's definitely food for thought, and good to know that I will never forget a Hurkle-Durkle.
You don't feel bad because it's a thing.
It's a thing. That's it. Exactly.
And it now has a label, and it now exists in your world as an okay thing. Yeah.
So now that we really have accomplished so much, I feel in our conversations, and I'm so grateful that you came to join me. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Now, just before we go, if any of our viewers, our listeners, if they want to reach out to you, if they feel that you're their girl, what's the best way for them to connect with you? What's the best way
can I say my phone number?
Yeah. What's the best way for them to get?
All right, I'm going to look right in the camera. My phone number is 917-626-9065. It is a New York City phone number. I'm never getting rid of it because it's precious to me.
That's you.
But also I attract a lot of people from New York City because of my people looking on YouTube to see, you know, where they want to move, and moving to, if you Google moving to the Lehigh Valley and you look at videos, I'm going to be one of the first ones that pops up.
Yeah.
So you can also find me online just by Googling Tara Roy Realtor. And, you know, Tara Roy Realtor in the Lehigh Valley. You're going to see lots of different posts. My email address is going to be in there for you. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok. I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere. I was going to say, you can hear it on the radio.
Yes, you can hear me on the radio. You're going to find me.
You're everywhere.
I'm trying to be.
No, that's awesome. Well, good for you. Like I said, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
I'm just so excited to see you grow.
Fun.
Yeah,
so much fun.
Absolutely. Girl talk, right?
Girl talk. Girl talk.
Right?
Girl talk with Lizzie.
Good.
Thanks, Lizzie.
No problem. Thank you. So that was another episode of Beyond the Closing, and we'll see you soon.